All right, so what we have is our first music video. Our first music video, guys, is going to be the topic of Veterans Day. That's going to be our topic. Now, I have a sample video here that I want to show you. This sample video, guys, is a video that is on 9/11. So it's a different topic, but it's one I found off the internet, and it's just to kind of show you the quality. First off, they use some images that are blurry, kind of hard to see. The images, when they actually go from one picture to the next, it's just a quick change. There's no transitions. And then the images themselves, they just kind of sit there. They don't really do anything. I'm not saying that they have to always be moving or anything, but it makes life more interesting. Images themselves are weird order. There the tower was down. Here they're still rescuing for people, so this is obviously earlier. This is now a year later at a dedication ceremony. This is a year later at a remembrance. Now all of a sudden we flip back to where the towers obviously just fell. And here they're not even hit yet. Only one of them's hit. And it ends up here where they're both standing. I mean, if there's a topic that has a definite kind of time order, this would have been it. You know, start with where the towers are standing, then go to where, you know, okay, then they got hit. Then they go to the rescue situation. Then you're the, you know, trying to recover after they come down. Then you go to the rebuild. All those things have a definite timeline that they could have followed, and they didn't. If you hand this in, again, C to C minus is what you would get. This is not good quality, and this is out on the internet, guys. I expect better from you. So, the only thing that's good about this video was the music choice. The music choice is called New York Minute. And basically what the song is about is how things can change in an instant, which you guys will. I know you guys don't remember this at all because some more weren't born yet. But things will change. You're going to have something like this in your life that's going to change everything you've done. All right? It's going to change things. For me, when I went to school and stuff, it was not uncommon for especially the boys to be carrying around pocket knives because I went to a school where we had a lot of farmers, and you just carried a pocket knife. Could you imagine if one of you guys brought a knife into school today? You know, it's just a different world. Getting on an airplane, you got to get to the airport like 2-3 hours ahead of time so you can make it through security and everything else. Dude, back when I went to Florida and stuff, Walt Disney World, when I was growing up, I think we we got to the airport like 15 minutes before the plane took off. That was enough time to park, pick up the tickets, and get to the airplane. Security was some dude just standing there looking at you. That's it. You didn't have metal detectors and all that sort of stuff. So things change. Now, as far as the video, a Veterans Day video is what we're going to be doing. I have a sample of a Veterans Day video, guys. This is a little more what I'm looking for. This is from a couple years ago. It's about, the topic is about soldiers and kids or soldiers doing humanitarian work. Notice all the images. They're moving just a little bit just to give it something. All the transitions, they either fade, they swipe across, something like that. We tried to make it so that it makes it a little more interesting. It just doesn't blip from one picture to the next. And the music is basically suiting for what we're looking at. This is more what I expect from you guys. Since the topic is Veterans Day, you have to be able to tell a story. Now, your story, like I said, with that one for me, was soldiers and kids or soldiers and humanitarian. That was my story. You want to think up a story. Your story could be about Veterans Day itself and just different pictures of veterans, you know, during a Veterans Day service. It could be about different services. Could be the Navy, the Air Force, the Marines, Army. It could be just about the objects, you know, like Army tanks. Or you could have a timeline type thing where I did have a student one time who went ahead and she decided to do a soldier going through the process. She had someone signing up, going to boot camp, saying goodbye to the family, going overseas, going to battle, coming back overseas, and reuniting with their family. That was a timeline. Every single picture was a different person. But you could follow her story just looking through it because she did a timeline with it. That works great. When you get to the images, I put up here 10 images. All right? 10 images is just an approximate. You can do more. I'd prefer you not to do less. And I put no guns. Because, guys, you do not have to have guns. That video that I just started to show you has 87 pictures in it, and out of 87 pictures, there were 2 images with guns. And that was because one, I think, was a tank, and I forget exactly what the other one was, but there's a gun in it. If you decide to do, U.S. battleships, okay, they have guns on it. That's fine. You just cannot have them shooting. But no soldiers holding guns. That's real simple. No soldiers holding guns. When you go looking for your images, I suggest you use Internet Explorer as opposed to Firefox because Firefox here at the school does not seem to be supported as well. You may use Google Images, the web use form. Guys, you all sign the appropriate use web form, making sure that you use the website appropriately or the internet appropriately. Now, having said that, you are going to be looking up images using Google. Inappropriate images can pop up. The best thing you can do is move on. The worst thing you can do, try to get somebody else to look at the picture. That gets you in serious trouble. And I don't mean like me or even Mr. Creedon or Mrs. Page. I'm talking it goes up to the district hill and you get in trouble with the district office because it's a district policy. So you get in major trouble. Now, an example would be I had a girl one time who had 4 soldiers standing there, and the very last soldier was holding a beer. Shouldn't have gone through, but it did. Is it inappropriate for school? Yes, it is. Someone having a beer in a picture is inappropriate for school. However, as soon as you leave school, okay, the guy's over 21, he's protecting our country and could die. Let him have a beer. But that's outside of school. So that's what I mean when I say inappropriate images. You just want to make sure that it's appropriate for school. When you get the image and you're going to save it, guys, when we put all our images onto the software, which is Movie Maker 2.6, when we put our images on there, it's going to put every image on there from everybody that uses your computer. So if everybody gets 10 pictures, your 10 pictures are now scrambled among 70 others. The easy way to do it is to put P and whatever your period is as the first part of your picture. You're going to rename all your pictures. So for you guys, you'd put P4 for period 4 and then rename the picture. So when you go to the actual software, all your pictures will be together because they all started with P4. Makes it real simple to find your images. Then you're going to have to be specific in your search. Make sure it has US in front of it. If I bring up Google here for a second, up top in my search, US, Navy. All right, make sure it says US. I had a girl who did the Coast Guard, which was great, except 3 out of her 10 pictures were the Canadian Coast Guard. One of them had a Canadian flag in it. So make sure that you have US in front. Then Navy. Well, that would give me a bunch of pictures. U.S. Navy soldier. That kind of narrowed it down a little bit. U.S. Navy soldier saluting. Well, you end up with a lot of soldiers that are saluting each other like this. U.S. Navy soldier saluting flag. Well, good. Here's U.S. Navy soldier saluting a flag, but I wanted it on a ship. Well, if I go down here to the images, and I start to look around, there we go. There's a U.S. Navy soldier saluting a flag on a ship. That is an exact picture. The better you can be up here, the easier it'll be to find your pictures. Okay? Any questions? What you're going to be doing is you're going to be thinking up what your topic is going to be, your story. And the reason we call it a story is because it's a storyboard that we're going to be using in the actual program. So you think up your story. Once you figure out your story, you're going to go to Google and you're going to start to look up your images and see if you can find stuff to match that. If you already find a picture, here's how we save it. We click on the picture. Once the image comes up, we're going to right-click, go to Save Picture As, And that's where we're going to go find our stuff. We're going to go down, we're going to click on computer, and we do all the same stuff we did before. Click on AC 150, click on period, 8th grade, your period, your rotation, all that sort of stuff. Save it to your piano folder number. Any questions? Go ahead and get to work.